We understand that choosing the entertainment for your event can be a daunting experience, especially if you've never done it before. There are so many options available to you, it can be difficult to know where to start. So you might find it helpful to think about the type of experience you're hoping to create for your guests and the sort of memories that you'd like them to take away from your event. Now, to get to that point, it can be really helpful to consider the limitations that you need to work within, because that can rule certain types of entertainment out straight away. The first consideration is the time of day that you are hosting your event. If your event is going on during the afternoon, it's likely that you'll want to create a laid-back, chilled atmosphere where your guests can relax and talk. In this situation, a solo or an acoustic act is absolutely ideal because it creates a nice atmosphere but isn't intrusive. If your event is taking place during the evening, a DJ or a band may be a much better option for you, something that gets your guests more involved. Now, the choice of music is another important consideration, and again, there are so many options available, from covers bands to originals, from specific genres through to tribute acts. So what do you go for? The most important thing to consider is the needs of all of your guests. You're likely to have guests from a wide variety of backgrounds and ages, and it's important that whatever you choose takes into account everyone rather than just your personal preference. In this case, a DJ or a covers band is usually the best option. Space is an important consideration. Obviously, a solo, a duo act or a DJ are likely to take up less space than, for instance, a six-piece band, and it's important that your venue can accommodate a band. Don't forget to leave room for a dance floor. And also, you must consider where your guests are likely to stand and congregate. If the bar is in a separate room to where your entertainment is being held, this can be quite disjointing. Sound is another very important consideration. You may be aware that some venues have what we call sound or noise limiters. These are devices which measure volume in terms of decibels. If it reaches a certain level, the power to the PA is immediately cut. It's important that you advise any band if your venue has a sound limiter. You will find that many bands, including Destination Groove, are more inclined to decline a booking for a venue that has a noise limiter. This is because although we are very careful about sound, some limiters are so sensitive that it is just impossible to work within their limitations. They can be highly disruptive and they can also cause damage to equipment. Now, very often the most important deciding factor for most people is budget. Obviously, it is true to say that a DJ, a solo or a duo act is going to be less expensive than, for example, a six-piece band such as Destination Groove. It's very difficult to compare the two. But let's think about what you actually get for your money if you do opt for a band. The most important thing to remember is you are not just paying for the performance time. With a band, you are likely to be paying a lot more members. Such as Destination Groove, we have 6 members, some of which perform for their living rather than as a hobby alongside a full-time job. We have to consider experience, training. You're essentially paying for a trade in much the same way as you would expect to with an electrician or a plumber or a mechanic. We have to think about instruments, equipment, rehearsal time, travel costs, the setup times, the pack down times. There really is a lot more to consider when you're running a band. It does cost a lot more to run a band, and those have to be considered. So let's go back to our original question. What type of experience are you hoping to create for your guests, and what memories do you want them to take away? Now, whilst we fully appreciate that there are some great DJs out there, and some really good solo and acoustic acts, we want to think about, if your budget is not limited and you have none of the restrictions that I've spoken about, what exactly do you get when you book a band, and why is it a great option for your event? At Destination Groove, we believe that there really is nothing like live music. A band creates a focal point for everybody. You must remember that some of your guests are unable to dance, or would absolutely just prefer to sit at a table and be entertained with a drink. A band gives them something to watch. It helps everybody to feel involved. There's a lot more audience interaction. Overall, a live band such as Destination Groove gives you a great experience. So I hope that this has given you some things to think about when you're considering the type of entertainment which will be most suitable for your event.